Frank will guide us through his review, and when I remember right, he will start with an explanation about illegal block in the back. Am I right, Frank?
Actually, I mean, we can certainly do that if you guys want to. It was more of a question for you and Matthias, if you want to do. I mean, I can also do a separate little training tape with. I've got 4 plays with different kinds of illegal blocks in the back that I can put together. Just like I have 4 plays on the personal foul leg whip. That from different games that I thought were interesting. I have the play numbers here that we can have a look at it if you guys want to.
Yes, perfect.
But yeah, I can also do it separately.
Okay.
So that's really up to you guys.
Now start with your review, please, and when we have time, let's do the illegal block in the back too.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, let's see if I can remember how to share my screen here. That looks about right.
Yes, sir.
Yep. All right, so you guys, you know the format by now. You know, I come waltzing in here, I criticize everybody up and down the field, and then I waltz back out and leave you guys to it. But I really hope that you know you take all of my criticism in the spirit that it's intended, which is trying to for everybody to improve on the field. So that's really what I hope to accomplish at least. And you guys are, like I said last time, you guys are more than welcome to ask questions or make comments while I go through the different plays. You are also more than welcome to contact me, afterwards or during the week if you have any questions about my comments from the Excel sheet. You probably noticed that I ask more and more questions in the Excel, and really they are meant for you guys to use in your pregame, or even if you're doing self-study, just to kind of ask yourself, did I see this on this play, or where was my concentration here, so that you can maybe do it differently the next time you get into that situation. And I was talking to my wife the other night, and I started using the analogy of the comparison that when we do mechanics that may not be completely according to the MOFO or what we're trying to accomplish. It's a little bit like crossing the street without looking first, without watching for cars. You can do that a number of times and nothing happens. Right? You can get into a bad habit on the field, and you can do that for a number of games, and nothing ever happens. Until that one game where all of a sudden this car comes out of nowhere and knocks you down. And if it's a small thing, it's like crossing a small street. You can do that 50 times maybe without anything happening. Whereas if it's a big mechanics thing, well, that could be like crossing the is it called the Autobahn in Austria also? But I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. So really what we're looking for here is catching that bad habit of crossing the street without looking before there's a car that runs you down. So even though I may be picking on something that looks like a small thing, really what we're trying to accomplish here is to catch or get rid of that bad habit before we get hit by a car. So I hope that made sense. Okay, let's have a look at the first play here. So we're looking at the referee, but really we're also looking at communication in the crew, because as soon as the ball is snapped, the referee is winding the clock, Now, to me, this is a bad habit, if you will, in a number of different areas. One is there shouldn't be any reason to wind the clock, because if it's not running already, the clock operator should know to start it when the ball is snapped. We shouldn't have to signal to the clock operator to start the clock when the ball is snapped. They should already know that. The second part is that, you know, whenever I see clock status communication from the referee to the deep guys, in my mind, that's because the deep guys are not doing their job. All of the clock communication should be going from the deep guys to the referee. The referee should never have to think about clock status. That should be given to him by the deep guys. So if you're a deep official, and it doesn't really matter whether you have the actual game clock as a field judge or not, all three deep guys should know the status of the clock, and they should make sure that the referee has all the information that he needs. And as a referee, if you don't get that from your guys, you know, let them know that that's actually their job. And for us deep guys, this is our job, and we need to have the pride to give the referee all that information, and if he ever needs to ask for it, it's because we're not good enough to give it to him. So that's just a communication thing. All right. Next. Yes, please.
I just make an important remark here. You will see this habit only in the first quarter, because we had real problems with the game clock operator. So it was in the first quarter where we tried to wind the clock all the time, because it was stopped all the time. That's why we make this strange habit only in.
So actually, the clock operator didn't know to start it at the snap.
Right. He was completely fresh one, so he was.
Okay.
You know, he didn't know what to look at. He always pressed the wrong button and so on. So it was really very complicated for us in this first quarter. It was only in the first quarter.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, it was.
And it must have been really annoying to have to spend energy, you know, waste energy on stuff like that.
You are right. We all were upset in the first quarter, and it was a big relief that it improved immediately in the second quarter and second half. So just for information, it's that's why I wind the clock all the time.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. As a reviewer, you know, I don't know that stuff, so that's why sometimes I just ask questions.
Yes, I know you don't know. You didn't know.
You can't tell from the video. You know, that's tough. All right, thanks, Benny. Okay, let's have a look at this one is the umpire and the goal line. So whenever we get down close to the goal line, you know, we get into a situation where the goal line may be threatened. We may have a play that ends very, very close to the goal line, and we will ask, in this case, our deep wings, typically, you know, most of the time it'll be our short wings who are on the goal line, and they need to be able to see that goal line to see if the ball crosses the goal line for a score. So it's really unfortunate if our umpire gets in the way. So for umpires, you know, once we get down close to there, just be aware of where that goal line is so you don't line up on it, so that potentially you are in the way for the wing. See, if the runner gets, you know, just a yard further down the field, you know, this linesman or side judge, I guess it is in this case, could, you know, potentially have a tough time seeing if this is a score or not, because our umpire is standing right there. So for umpires, you know, just be aware of that goal line so that you don't line up on it. And now with the radios, if you're on the goal line and you see the umpire line up there, just go on the radio and ask him to move up a yard or two, so that he doesn't get in your way. Because we'd hate to miss a call, a critical call for a touchdown, because one of our buddies is in the way. So it's just a small thing, and we can't see anything from this angle, but that's okay. All right. A couple of things on this. Really good mechanics by the two wings. We're third and short. So I know, or I'm guessing, there was pre-snap communication between the wings to remind them that as soon as the ball is snapped, we move to the line to gain, and they both do it. They do it the same way. So this is excellent, pre-snap awareness, communication, movement by these wings. So it looks like they're in full control. Now we're talking about pre-snap here, and when a deep wing lines up on the pylon, it should be part of the pre-snap routine to remind ourselves, what am I going to do if the ball dies between the B2 and the goal line? In other words, what am I going to do if I have forward progress responsibility? In this case, if that happens, it's going to be a first down. So again, if that happens, I have to stop the clock. If it's first and goal from the B9, and I have progress on the B1, that is still inside the chain, so I don't need to stop the clock. But here, it's going to be a first down. So right there, we've got a good spot, but we forgot about the clock status. And really, it's just a case of pre-snap routine. You're lining up there on the pylon. Just take a second or two to remind yourself why you're there, and if that guy is down on the B1, what am I going to do? How am I going to react and move? And that will make it possible for you to come in just like you did there, good movement, and just kill the clock while you're doing it. So we go back to the importance of a pre-snap routine. Okay, now I also wanted to say that actually before we started, that at tournaments we'll typically spend 2-3 hours at a single game, so we can go into to many plays and many details and have a lot of fun, really nerding with officiating here. I think I have 3 plays from each game, just looking at general mechanics. So if you want to go into your own performance in more detail, please have a look at the Excel sheet, because we just don't have the time to be that detail oriented in these reviews. All right, so this is an interesting play for back to the question from before. I probably watched this play 20 times. I maybe spent 10-15 minutes on it, because there's so much stuff going on. So let's have a look at it. So from this angle, we're looking at the offensive tackle first, and then we're looking at the hit on the wide receiver. So 2 different things, 2 different places, and there's a tight end there, so we have to look beyond the tight end to the tackle. And he's got good position. He's got good position. He never loses position. We do have an offensive holding called on this, but really there's not a whole lot to see, at least from this angle. So now the ball is in the air. It's going to get caught right there, and B7 just lays him out. So from this angle, it certainly looks like it has high potential for a targeting hit. But we're in luck because we have an end zone shot. So okay, let's just start with the tackle again. Just have a look at what we're looking at. See if it looks any worse from this angle. And you know, I typically I don't want to get too much into fouls and the quality of calls in these training tapes, but I can probably, without throwing Matthias under the bus, I can reveal that we talked about this a little bit, and he's not too happy about this call, and I agree with him. The tackle never loses position. You know, there's probably some grabbing and that's probably what's presented to the referee here. But you know, as long as he keeps position like this, it's very, very difficult to have a solid holding call. So I would leave this one alone. And then the second part that I also put in the Excel is I would really recommend that when we have these offensive holding fouls that we throw the flag overhand. It just looks, I think it looks a little better, you know, and once in a while offensive holding is actually a spot foul. So if we get into the habit of throwing it overhand, we will be more accurate in getting the flag to the spot, so that when we do need the spot, it's closer to where we need it, and we'll be in better shape that way. All right, let's move on to the hit on the receiver, and you know, I get it. This is really tough. It happens so quickly, so fast, and on the field we only get one shot at it. So what we have to do, or what we have to try to do, is kind of recognize indicators that we can then replay, you know, in the movie in our head after the play, and say, did I see that? Did I see that? Because you know, on the field we don't get a chance to rewind. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for a receiver that's coming across the middle. So chances are, you know, there's going to be a defender coming the other way. It's not like a post pattern or a fade down the sideline where nobody can really hit him hard. Here, you know, when they run a post, you just have to know, especially as the back judge, this is your initial key. You just have to know that when he's coming in like this, there's a high probability that somebody's coming the other way, and we can have a real collision here. The next thing is, you know, once you see that right there, you see the defender kind of leaning in, kind of launching his way in to make the hit. That's a very good indicator. And even if you didn't see any of that, once you see the hit and you see that, if you can kind of in your head freeze that, it's very difficult not to have a targeting when the hit ends up like that. So even if we're a little bit surprised at this, we do have some indicators that we can look at that will tell us that this at least has a high probability of a targeting. And remember, if when in doubt for a safety foul, especially a targeting foul, we need to call these. So I would definitely have supported a call on this, and I don't know. I mean, you know, I've tried to freeze this a number of different places to see if I can see, this might be a good one, to see if I can see the shoulder hit in the chest so that the head of the receiver moves down first before it whips back. But yeah, most of the time I end up like this, where it really looks like it's shoulder to helmet. So it does look like there's a launch, there's a defenseless player, and there is forcible contact to the head and neck area. So I don't know if you guys talked about this, you know, during the play, during the game, or after the game, but I would certainly have supported a call for targeting here. But just something to think about.
Frank?
Yes, sir.
Andy's calling. Reason is it was our game and I was the umpire there, and I was going to that game, to that play, because I see it in my eye view. You see it go down, and was looking at that position. But I was not sure what is happening. But I was asking my back judge, my deep wing colleagues, was it a targeting or not?
Yeah.
Because for me, was it also looking that was a targeting?
Yeah. That's a good point.
For the launching in, because he's launching in, he's not going with the hands in front. He's going with the hands in about in a protection move about when you say the position of the delay of game signal.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not hitting. That's not tackling. That's some a kind of hitting and want to kill somebody or to destroy somebody.
He wants to knock the ball out.
Yeah.
Instead of making the tackle.
Yeah.
It's a good point. I'm glad you brought it up. I wouldn't expect you as the umpire. I wouldn't expect anybody as the umpire to make this call. You just come around too late to make a call for targeting or to make a call for PI. Your primary help there would be with catch no catch.
Yeah, I know. But as it was also in that situation, I see that, and I was not sure. And they're asking the other guys who is the key on that position.
Yeah, yeah.
That's only what I can support my teammates, or nothing else.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
But Frank, would you in this situation, would you, if let's say that if even though the umpire is not the primary official for this play, would you still support not throwing the flag and be wrong at the end because he's not primary position, or him throwing the flag and let's say pick it up if review with the other officials does not support the call? What would you recommend in this situation for non-primary official? Throw it or not and miss it?
Don't throw it. If you come around this late, I wouldn't throw it. And if I were grading this, I would give the no call to the back judge since it's his key. It's I might give a no call to the deep wings also. I need to see what else they were looking at, but I would never ever give a no call to the umpire on this. So if you're coming around late like this and you're not sure, don't call it. If you're the primary and you have doubts, call it. Wow, that certainly looked like targeting. Call it. I hope that made sense.
Yep, thanks.
Frank, one question.
Yeah.
Is it a targeting now or is it not a targeting?
This to me, this is a targeting.
Okay, for me also, that is only what I want to know, because that is what we are clear now.
Yes.
But it's I think a really good targeting school video for us.
Yeah. To me, this is a targeting. I mean, wherever I try to freeze it, this just has all of the elements. You've got the defensive player, you've got the launch there, and you've got high contact. This is a targeting to me. And even though he tries to extend his arms afterwards in a pushing motion, he already had the forcible contact high. So this is targeting. All right, good comments, good questions. Thank you very much. All right, let's have a look at this. I think we're looking at a deep wing and one of my pet peeves here. So we've got a punt, and we're looking at this guy over there. And again, I'm just basing all of this on body language. So part of the way I'm guessing, but we've got a ball that's landing here on this side of the hash marks. So this is certainly the responsibility of the back judge. I wouldn't even say that the deep wing on this side should be focusing on the ball because the sideline is not threatened at all. I would have both deep wings focused up on this area right now. But if we look at this guy over here, the way he's moving up tells me that all of his focus is on the ball. And I just hope that somebody saw the action by these guys here. You know, I would hate after the play to have focus on the ball and then, you know, see that and have to wonder, oops, did I miss something? Now there's nothing here, but this is one of those. This is crossing a small street without looking both ways first, because we got away with it this time. You know, next time this turns into something bigger, or this turns into a cheap shot, or, you know, something that we miss because we've got at least 2, maybe even 3 sets of eyes on a rolling ball that really is nothing. So for deep wings, whenever you catch yourself looking at a ball like this, you know, catch yourself and remind yourself, I need to be looking somewhere else because the back judge has the ball. And you know, this is certainly a pre-snap thing, and you can even, you know, go on the radio if you want to and remind each other where your primary responsibility is. All right, since we have an excellent end zone shot, we just again advise the back judges to line up behind the punter on the inside shoulder so that you can look, you know, just over his shoulder at the punter so that you can see where the ball is going to be kicked. And then as soon as the ball is kicked, you know, now we have a pretty good idea where it's going to come down, right? So if we're lined up right here and he moves there, you know, we can move a few steps and we're still in good shape, in good position to see what happens, and we're not that far. See, right now the punt returner is running away from him, and now we end up being like 20-25 yards away, whereas if we had been behind him, we would have been somewhere here. We would be in, you know, a little bit better position to cover the play. And I think we'll come back to this in a later play. All right, another punt. A lot of interesting stuff happens on this on punt plays. This is actually, as I recall, it's a blindside block right there. Now we had a focus area last time where we showed a lot of different things that was not enough for a blindside block. If we look at this player right here, this is a blindside block. This is an illegal blindside block. In my book, at least. This is comes in with the shoulder. It's from the blind side, and you see the way the guy lands or goes flying. This to me is forcible enough that this is the type of hit that the rules committee wants to get out of the game. Now, let's have a look at who can see this. So right now, the return starts, which means that the back judge should be looking at blocks. As soon as the ball is caught and it's, you know, under control, the return starts. As the back judge, we're off the hook for forward progress, so we don't need to look at the runner anymore. So we have to be good at getting the catch, but then as soon as that catch is over, go to blocks. For the deep wings, you know, now you're responsible for the runner in progress, but it's going to be 1st and 10 anyway. So at least half of our concentration should also be at blocks in front of the runner. And for the umpire, here is the block, just so that we all know who's going to be hitting who. And for the umpire, you know, pick out anybody between you and the ball also. So, you know, if we can pick out these guys that are running high speed, especially, you know, towards each other. So there's the hit, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but it certainly looks like both the back judge and the umpire are looking at the runner. Just from where the caps are pointing, where I would like both the umpire and the back judge to be looking at blocks instead of the runner. So again, you know, we can have a lot of plays where we end up looking at the runner, and it ends up being you know, we're crossing the street without looking first until this play happens, and all of a sudden there's something else that we should have seen. Unfortunately, nobody saw it. I think the flag is for something else, so let's not get into that. So it's just something, you know, that we can, you know, we all get sucked into looking at the ball once in a while, but as soon as it happens, if the ball is not your area of responsibility, you know, catch yourself and remind yourself, I need to be looking blocks instead. All right. Okay, so next play, we've got a correct call for 12 players on defense, but it's only called by the back judge. Now, the way I see it, if we have especially something like this, where we have plenty of time to count, all three deep officials should be counting defense. We as deep officials should also be communicating to each other what our count is. So, you know, that's why we have the thumbs up, that's why we have the fist, and that's why we're communicating. If you have 11, you signal that. If you have 12, and I know the back judge here had 12, if you have 12 and nobody else looks to be having 12, go on the radio and get them to count again. If I have 12 and nobody else has 12, they will see it with my, you know, the signal that we have where you're tapping your hat. They will also see the panic in my eyes, even from 20 yards away. We need to communicate. If you have 12 and nobody else does, communicate, count again, because, you know, I could be wrong. So on a situation like this, all three deep officials should have a flag, and you know, I don't have the entire sequence on video, but it looks like we have enough time that we should be able to count this. Okay, so another couple of points here. So we have a flag for substitution, illegal substitution. We also ended up with a timeout, at least the timeout called from the sideline where they had 12. Now, typically, you know, if the flag is thrown more or less at the same time as they call timeout, we want to try to be nice to them and give them the timeout as opposed to the 5-yard penalty. I could be wrong here, but it looked like they ended up with both. So they ended up with the timeout, but also the 5-yard penalty.
No, so they ended up with the 5-yard penalty, and we talked about it in the post game. It should have been the timeout. We did it.
And that's my point is that when this situation happens, just ask the coach. You know, unless it's clearly after the flag that they call the timeout. If it's more or less the same time, ask the coach, hey, do you want your timeout or do you want a 5-yard penalty? So we do want to try to be nice to them that way.
Yeah.
The other point I wanted to make here is where the line of scrimmage is. Did we give Team A the option to decline it, the penalty? You know, we're in the area here where it could actually be a disadvantage for Team A to be punting from the 30, what is that, 32 instead of the 37, just in terms of, you know, the possibility of a touchback. And this is the area of the field where they might just decline the penalty. So my question is also, did we give the offense the opportunity to decline it? And that's something that everybody on the crew can come in and say, hey, they might decline it here just because, you know, it's easier to pin them inside the 20 from the 40 than from the 30. So that's just something to think about. And the last thing, okay, now we've got the camera from the wrong angle. When we're counting defense on a punt, you know, there's a lot of players moving in and out, and sometimes it's difficult to count the defense just because they line up differently than they usually do. So what I usually try to do is I identify the players that are easy to count. So we've got let's say we've got a punt returner, so he's down here. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4 over here. Those guys are easy to count. 4 minus 11 or 11 minus 4, that means I have to have 7 in the box. So now I can spend the rest of my energy counting 7 in the box. I don't have to count 11, you know, across 50 yards of field. I can identify the first 4, and then it's a little easier, a little faster for me to count 7 in the box. And if I get 8 in here in the box, I know we have a problem. So that's just a little trick to sometimes count a punt return team a little faster. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, you know, try something else. All right, let's have a look at this guy right here. Umpire, obviously. Good stands. All right, now, and we're also looking at did I make another? Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. First thing first, whistle mechanics. So right now our umpire here has the whistle in his mouth. If we follow him through the play, he still has a whistle in his mouth, and he still has a whistle in his mouth, and the play's over, still has his whistle in his mouth. Now, I would certainly advise anybody, if you have your whistle in your mouth pre-snap, which can be a very good mechanic to shut down false starts and stuff like that. As soon as the ball is snapped, spit it out, because the next time you get hit, you know, you may end up with an inadvertent whistle because of your whistle in your mouth. And if you get hit really, really bad, you know, we're talking about dental work and other stuff. So as soon as the ball snapped, spit it out. Is my clear advice here. Okay, so let's have a look at the tackle across the field. So that is the line judge key in this formation. And I've frozen it. Right there is pretty much where the quarterback throws the ball, and the tackle is 6 yards down the field. But we missed this call. So for the line judge, this was your key initially. So, you know, if you see him come out like that, that looks like a run. And then if we have a pass, you know, that should trigger something for you. For the umpire, I know it's not your primary key, but you know, he gets so close to you that you actually start moving back. So if you see the pass, or you feel the pass is thrown, you know, that also could be something to make you wonder what's going on with this tackle here and the pass. So just a couple of things that might trigger a thought process or a reaction, because 6 yards down the field is way too much for us to let go. So it's a shame that we missed this call. So just something to think about how we can catch that next time. All right, another punt. All right, again, we're looking at, who's looking where. So ideally, the back judge should be looking at the catch, and the two deep wings should be looking at stuff, in front of him, and trust the back judge to get the hits. So let's have a look at those players right there. Something happens there, and I certainly hope that we saw that. Not that it's enough to call, but we just need to know what happened there. Because if we don't know what happened there, then we've got too much focus on the ball again. And eventually, that kind of stuff is going to be too much for us to completely ignore, and it's going to be something that we end up with a no call on, and potentially even lose contact or lose control of the game. All right, I think that was the 9 plays I had for for serious stuff. Now we're looking to end up on a high note. So we're looking at this tight end for my first tip of the hat for today. This is the well, not really a tight end, but the inside receiver there, the back judge key. Some good job following his key around. And keep focus, and right there is just a tiny little block in the back that is big enough for a foul. Sometimes those blocks in the backs are very small, but it's all that's needed to spring the runner. So I thought that was just a good job of staying with the key, and then I like the wind up and the throw. Even with a couple of steps toward it. I can't see how close the flag actually got, but if the last 3 reviews we've been talking about, focus on your own stuff and trust your guys to do the same. Here's a good example of a good focus on your own key, and you actually see that block in the back and a good flag. All right, a little bit of the same. We're looking at the linesman here, and we need to go to the end zone shot. Looking at the tackle there, just to give us an idea of what's going to go on. We can't really see what's going on there, but now we know the quarterback is going to run out that way. So we're looking at this tackle right there, and he's going to be covered by the linesman. Good block right there, still good block. Whoops, all of a sudden now it turns into holding. So for a couple of seconds there, it looked like everything was perfect, everything was good. You might have a tendency as a covering official to go away from it because everything looks good, but as soon as the quarterback starts running, all the angles change, and now 63 needs to let go, because now he's lost position, and we got the shoulder dip, we've got the lost feet of the defender. This is a good solid hold, and a good job by the linesman to stay with it and see it when it happened, and get a good flag down. So good job sticking with your own stuff, and that's why we have 7 people out here, so that we can be looking in different places and actually catch this. So well done. And the last one, it's not rocket science here. I just happened to have this angle at the deep wing here. I just thought this was really good movement. We've been talking about not getting burned on plays here. I think we've got a good reaction right at the snap. Good focus pre-snap also. right here, it looks like there's good focus on the receiver. Actually, what I would probably do here is sneak a peek at the tackle, because we've got enough cushion in the coverage that nothing bad can happen for the first 2 or 3 steps of the receiver. So the receiver can come out and it can look like a pass play if he's going to run a route. But the tackle is going to show you much quicker if it's going to be a pass or a run. So I might just have a look at the tackle here for the first, couple of steps before I come back to my receiver. But good focus here, and right there, good initial movement right at the snap, and then we can read from there. It turns into a running play, so we don't have to go all the way. We can slow it down a little bit. So that's good. And we come in now. If I were to say anything, it looks like we're looking at our back judge or deep wing buddy across the field. You may want to keep focus on dead ball officiating in the pile just a little bit longer, just in case 25 does something here or 85 does something. We don't really have anybody else since all the receivers are still in front of us. So just make sure that you finish up your pre-snap or your dead ball officiating. I could be wrong, but it looks like our friend here is looking across the field at colleagues. So dead ball officiating needs to happen first. That was it for the that was it for the 12 plays. Any other good questions or comments or anything like that you guys want to jump in with?
I have one question to the punt play we had.
Which one?
The second or third when the ball bounced out, and I think
this one.
What was this one? But it doesn't matter. It was the question that the ball bounced in the direction of goal line B. So there was no problem. But what would you do as a deep wing or as a back judge when the ball bounces backwards, 10 yards, 15 yards, and you say that the end of the kick, the ball is the back judge's focus, so he may have players behind him. Is this a problem for you when he steps as far forward? Because the back judge is on the ball, the deep wings should look for blocks. Should the deep wings look for players behind the back judge?
Basically, yes. Especially if it's rolling around there as a back judge, my only concern, the only thing that exists in my world right now is the ball and who touches it. That's all I care about. There could be players over here, there could be players down here. I could not care less. If we don't know who touched the ball, I mean, this is turnover material, right? If the punt returner touches it and then it's recovered by team A, this is a huge swing, so we need to know that. Once the ball starts rolling around, and it's kind of a gray scale because the closer we get to the goal line here, or the closer we get to the sideline over here, or the more players from each team are around here, the more I would, as a deep wing, start looking at the ball also, just because it's so important. But it's kind of a gray scale where you want to spend your concentration. But as soon as that happens, the deep wing over here also needs to recognize that now we probably have 2 sets of eyes on the ball, because that is so important that he or she needs to cover, everything else.
Okay, so as deep wing, the ball is interesting whether the one of my lines is threatened or the ball is in possession.
Or the more players that are around it.
Okay.
So that it would, let's say there are players here or players here close to the ball. It'd be kind of nice to have two angles on it, because sometimes the back judge gets screened out. He has to work his butt off not to get screened out. But we want to spend our energy on what's important, and if we have a potential for a touching which turns into a turnover, we certainly want to know that. But we should only have two sets of eyes on it, and the third set should be looking at blocks. But on most punts, the back judge can deal with that himself.
Thank you.
Good question. Good question. All right, so Matthias, Thomas, it's really up to you. I mean, I have all the time in the world. I love doing this. We can have a look at the web leg whip clips of the IBB clips. I can also put together a little training tape for you guys that you can have a look at later. So it's really up to you if you have time.
From my point of view, it would be great to do it now. Matthias, you're okay?
Yes.
Is it? Okay,
Me
so
too.
let's do it.
Let's
All
keep
right,
going.
excellent. Let's have let's do the IBB first. I don't have a training tape on it, so we'll just have to go to the plays. I do have a list of plays here. So we'll start with play 60. And I mentioned these plays in the Excel sheet, so you had a chance to look at them. So we're looking at the near tackle here. So even though this is a block in the back, right now he's beat, and he does it. You can see by the white jersey that the defensive end, he takes a couple of steps because he got pushed in the back. The thing is, it's not illegal here. Whatever it is, 9-3-3 something, I think it is, it's very clear that if the ball is still in the tackle box and the block happens in the tackle box, blocking in the back like this is legal. You actually also, you can't even see if he maintains his position or his contact there, that block in the back is also illegal. So something for wings and referees to think about is sometimes, even though it looks like a big ugly block in the back, it's actually a legal block in the back. In the same game, here we go. Let's see if we can identify. Of course, now I only have the number. Oh, I remember this one. Yeah, so right here in the middle, 936, right there. So we've got two. So this is a huge block in the back. I just happen to think that for one, you could argue, you might be able to argue that the white jersey turns his back to the guy that's coming to hit him. The other thing, and I think that's actually a better point, is the guy doing the hit is on his way to the ball. And you can't actually hit an opponent in the back when you're going towards the ball. So again, I think this is actually it's a huge hit, but I think it's legal. He's going towards the ball. He never gets there, but he wants to come down there and cover the ball, and he's right there to do it. It's not unnecessary roughness because it's right there with the ball. It certainly is part of the play. I just think it's a legal hit. one more in this game. Let's just move to play 77. Here we go. So what we're looking at here is, before we talked about it's a legal block when the block and the ball is still in the tackle box. Here, I think the quarterback actually makes it out of the tackle box before the block happens. Now, this is really, really tough. And it's a lot easier to look at afterwards. But it's just something that we need to be aware of is when is this block legal and when is it illegal? And especially as a referee, and I struggle with this sometimes, is to recognize or to tell myself, okay, now the quarterback is out of the pocket, and what kind of rules apply now, for the block in the back, but also for grounding rules and roughing the passer rules and all that good stuff that changes once the ball leaves the tackle box. So where before the quarterback was still in the tackle box, here, I think at least you can make the case that he is outside of the tackle box, and at least theoretically we can say that if this is out of the tackle box, then that block in the back is legal now. All right, the last one I had was one of my favorite plays from last weekend. Because I get to pick on Matthias again, that's just a bonus. But it was one of the funniest plays I've seen in a long time. I was doing it in my living room, and my wife is on the couch, and all of a sudden I just started laughing out loud, and I almost scared the crap out of her. Not laughing at any of you guys, but at something that happened at the end of the play. But let's have a look at the block first. So a lot of blocking. Now the quarterback is out of the pocket. And right there is a block in the back. And I mean, this is tough to catch. As a referee, you're kind of scrambling to stay alive. What I would, good wide stance here. What I would probably do right now is move backwards. Just because the quarterback is moving backwards, I would probably be moving backwards a little bit too, so that I don't get this close. I mean, I think we can agree this is too close, and now we're more in survival mode than we are in actually covering the play. So if we as referee had been 5 yards deeper here, it might have been easier to see this block right there, because here the quarterback is certainly out of the pocket. So again, this block becomes illegal. And if you didn't notice already, have a look at what happens at the end of the play. So just follow the ball and the catch, and right there that coach kind of gets it. I actually don't know if I would have thought about sideline interference or sideline anything here. I think the coach knows what he did, and he paid the price here. And it was never going to be an interception anyway. So he paid that price. But you're right. The comment here, technically, that's probably a sideline warning. But he certainly paid the price, and he's probably still blue and black from that hit. So that was the blocks in the back. I just thought it was funny that, or interesting that we had 3 games and 4 different types of blocks in the backs that were really teaching moments. All right, for another 5 minutes here, for the leg whip personal foul type thing. Let's have a look at play 79 here. This is game 8. Yep. And I think we need to go to the end zone shot. Yeah, we're looking at the tackle across the field. So we're looking at this tackle right here. Just have a look at his blocking technique. If nothing else, it certainly is a talk to. I mean, I don't know if this is quite enough for a foul, but it is a dangerous technique, and it certainly looks like it's being coached because he goes down and here comes the leg, and that is going to hurt somebody at some point if it gets any more visible or obvious. Certainly a talk to, possibly even a flag here. And who needs to see this? Well, we've got trips over there, so this is the referee tackle. So this is something that we need to see as referee, and if nothing else, have a talk to him and warn him that he is getting very, very close to a personal foul, unnecessary roughness on stuff like this. Same game. Play 94. Let's have a look here. Memory serves me right. Same player, or at least same position. This is doubles formation, so the referee should have the chain, the linesman tackle. So again, this would be a referee key, and this is what tells me that this is what he aims to do. It's not like he was fighting with the guy and then he fell down and then his leg just kind of came out. This looks like he's falling down on his own. And here comes the leg, and as long as we let him, he's going to win that battle because he takes the defensive player out. But this is a potentially dangerous technique where either he's going to hurt himself or he's going to hurt the opponent. So this needs to be, I think, this needs to be addressed either with the top 2 or even with the coaches. Let's see, same game.
Sorry, Frank, what's the number of this tackle?
Yeah, I'm not sure that the video is actually
65.
Good, but
65.
If nothing else, it's a right tackle.
Thank you.
65.
I
know him.
Was it the white?
It's number 60. 65.
Was it the white team before that we were looking at? Let's have a look at the right tackle again. This is the green team. He's going to come up here. He's going to do the same thing. Here comes the leg whip. And again, you win the battle because you get your opponent down, but that's either going to hurt his own leg or the opponent is going to get seriously hurt. So that's green 63 right there. I can't remember if we have a good enough angle here. I can't really tell from this angle. So the more you see it, the more it looks coached. I found an I found one instance on this game also. We might be able to find more. You know, once you notice, you start looking for it. So I may not have been looking for it here. Play 15. Let's see who we're talking. Yep, so the tight end here. Let's have a look at his action. Right there. Yeah, you really see that leg coming around. And so not being, you know, the contact is not so bad here, but I would certainly, even if I didn't have a flag here, I'd certainly have a talk to on this one too, because eventually somebody's going to get hurt, and if they are in fact coaching this technique, you know, that's not good, because either their own player or the opponent is going to get hurt from it. But those were the blocks in the backs and the leg whips that I just happened to notice. So you guys can, you know, do with it what you think is right. Let me see. Okay, here we go. All right, that was it from my end. Any other questions or comments or anything from you guys?
Frank, as long as a cut block is legal, those are the typical cut blocks where a coach would say you did your job perfect.
Yeah.
Let's go to the knee and make a roll. It's coached.
Yeah.
As long as a cut block is legal, that's it.
I just don't know that I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you do it like that, you end up risking injury to yourself and your opponent.
That's why I told as long as a cut block is legal.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, all right. Agree to disagree. But I certainly hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. It would be interesting to hear, you know, to have a discussion or talk with the coach, just to hear, you know, where they're coming from on these.
I would love to have the cut block forbidden by rule.
I've heard coaches say that too. Yeah.
It makes the play more sure.
Yeah.
More secure.
Absolutely. I've heard coaches say that too.
So thank you, Frank. I really appreciate it. Like all the other times you did it for us, and we're really thankful you take your time and do these reviews and get in touch with us for an evening you could spend with your wife. So really thank you very much.
You're very welcome there. I mean, this, you know, our season starts, or my season starts in a week and a half. So this may be the last time I have time. But like I said in the beginning, you're all more than welcome to reach out if you have any questions, or if you want me to look at a play or sequence of plays. Like I always say, I love talking football. So even during the season, you know, let me know if you have anything you want me to look at. I'm more than happy to. I love you guys. I love talking football with you guys, and you know, I love football. So I hope we can stay in touch also during the season.
We will.
That would be great, and thank you again, Frank.
Sure.
Thank you, Frank, and have a good season.
Thank you. You guys too, and have a great night.
Thank you, Frank.